Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. It is Sunday, March 7th, 2010. I am Jason Burmis, your host for this evening's Info Warrior. Out of the gates, I want to discuss this Pentagon shooting because I was in the office late night as it happened, as it progressed, and by about 2 or 3 a.m., the stations that were not running repeats, like Fox News, like CNN, the ones that were showing the early morning shows like CBS early in the morning, CNN early in the morning, were already discussing 9/11 conspiracy theorist shoots Pentagon officials. Why? Why is that the focus of the mainstream media? This person was in and out of mental institutions all over the country for the past almost decade, had all sorts of types of weird belief systems, thought he was being tracked all the time, looked up into the sky. His brother said so. His parents warned people. He was pulled over on some kind of a cross-country trip by a local police officer, a state trooper, and he filed a report saying that this man may be mentally ill. But immediately, whether it be the foreign press, the Times of London headline, or the headlines out of Fox and CNN, September 11th, conspiracy theorist shoots Pentagon officials. Why? Well, earlier in the week, the Southern Poverty Law Center made it a point to single out We Are Change as the next domestic extremist terrorist organization. And anybody familiar with We Are Change knows that We Are Change was birthed out of the 9/11 truth movement. It obviously covers much more now. But we continue to delve into 9/11 truth. We continue to expose the truth on 9/11. That's why they're being targeted by the Southern Poverty Law Center. And they're also trying to create a nexus point between this event and the event with the IRS and Joe Stack and Tea Parties. Because anybody who opposes the government is now the enemy. They've set this up now for over the past 2 decades. You've seen it really evolve with the Department of Homeland Security, with the war on terror. Now with the Obama administration coming in and saying cybersecurity for all. And we'll delve into that cybersecurity bill later in the program. But this gentleman, I shouldn't even call him a gentleman, because anybody that walks into an area and just starts randomly shooting people, we don't endorse that. That's not how you take on the system. However, I think we have to note that that's the way the media would like to portray us, that we're putting these people over the edge. We're the reason this happened. No, we're not the reason this happened. And I should also make the point, now when anybody commits a crime, they're looking at your political beliefs. It doesn't matter in major polls that 36% of Americans not only question the official story of 9/11, but agree that elements within the government either were involved or failed to consciously take action to stop the events. So I guess now when a crime is committed, 1/3 of all crimes will be committed by 9/11 truthers, and they will be hyped up as such in the media. When I was watching the Alex Jones Geraldo segment last night, and Geraldo was asking Alex, well, then why is this? What? He was really trying to bait Alex into saying, well, obviously he was upset with the government. What makes somebody go shoot people? Well, what makes Ted Bundy murder young women? What made John Wayne Gacy prey on young children? What made Jeffrey Dahmer pour battery acid down the skulls of still living human beings to create sex zombies? I hate to tell you, folks, but some people are inherently evil. Some people are crazy. Some people are schizophrenics. And you can't just paint a broad brush that anybody who believes a certain thing is bad and they need to be put on a watch list. We'll be getting into this and much more. It's the Info Warrior with Jason Burmis, PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. In a moment, I'm going to analyze this Geraldo Rivero Alex Jones clip from last night. But first, I also want to point out that another talking point I've seen in the media is this man was a heavy marijuana smoker Really, what does that mean exactly? Oh, now marijuana makes you shoot people? Why is it they always play down the fact that the people that are shooting up schools, that are shooting up malls, that are shooting up military facilities are always on antidepressants? They're on the pharmaceutical drugs. But that never gets any hype. That never gets any play. Well, we know this man was heavily smoking marijuana. You show me the cases where heavy marijuana smokers go insane and start shooting people. No, it's with the reuptake inhibitors. It's with the Prozac. But you never hear that from the media. Doesn't matter if I watch a dozen commercials a day on the mainstream television where they're telling me how to quit smoking, how to add Abilify, how to take Prozac, and literally more than half the commercial is may cause hallucinations, may cause agitation, may cause suicidal thoughts, may cause death. Again and again and again and again. And this is what they're selling you with. But then the people that take those drugs, those reuptake inhibitors, the Prozacs and much else, when they shoot people, you don't hear, oh, he was heavily medicated. You never hear that. So I want to go to this clip. Hopefully, do we have this thing queued up? All right, let's start playing the Geraldo clip, and I'll give you my commentary throughout.
Coming up, the Pentagon shooter was one of those conspiracy theorists who believes 9/11 was an inside job. What will that mean to that movement?
Judge the success of their actions through public opinion, which can be manipulated in very effective ways, creating irresistible incentives for governments to use deception as a standard operating procedure. One of the greatest problems facing humanity today is the deliberate creation of conflict in order to extend the control of a tiny elite who seek to rule the world from the shadows.
Once a star student at San Jose State, 36-year-old John Patrick Bedell, the man who opened fire in front of the Pentagon last week, was a manic-depressive pothead fascinated with conspiracy theories involving 9/11.
Let's stop it right there.
Why he shot the two...
Manic-depressive pothead. Again, if he was a quote-unquote manic-depressive and he was going to all these hospitals, which all the evidence indicates, he was on a lot more than marijuana. I'm going to make the prediction within the next week we'll find out that he was on Prozac and other drugs. Let's see if the media leads in with he was heavily medicated for psychosis by doctors. They'll never lead in with that. Oh, but he's a heavy marijuana smoker. They're bad. People who smoke marijuana and believe in conspiracies. Hit the clip.
Pentagon guards before being shot and killed himself, but we do note that a blog connected to him suggests a criminal enterprise run out of the government could have staged the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. And that connection to the so-called 9/11 truthers is making their movement seem even more like a part of the lunatic fringe. But is that fair? Joining Kimberly and me from Austin, Texas, the same town, incidentally, where a tax protester recently crashed his plane into the IRS building.
All right, let's pause it right there. There is no reason to bring Austin, Texas's IRS plane crash into this other than to associate those who don't believe the government all the time and don't appreciate the IRS putting a gun to our heads and don't believe the official version of 9/11, we're all bad. And I guarantee they're going to try to associate this guy with INFOWARRIOR. I wouldn't be shocked if the guy was a listener, to be honest with you. He did spend some time in Austin, Texas. But the bigger issue is how was he traveling all across the country? There has been no talk of how this man made a living. Just that he was a college student, a graduate student, someone who was very bright in the past. What did he do for work? How did he get his money? How did he pay for all these hospital stays? All right, let's go back to the clip.
Host and a leader of the 9/11 was an inside job movement, Alex Jones. Alex, welcome. The Tea Party people shook off that IRS plane crash incident after a couple of days. Do you think you'll be similarly successful, or will Bedell's misdeeds stick to the 9/11 truther people?
Well, the plane crash guy had been a Democrat and was angry at the government. And this Bedell guy, I mean, look, he had hundreds of different beliefs, and some national polls show half of Americans, 6 of the 10 9/11 commissioners, question the official story. There's a wide spectrum of different debates. 9/11 Truth, most people just question the official story, prior knowledge, and other issues. But the bigger question here is, why within 1 hour was national news reporting that the Pentagon shooter was a 9/11 truther? I mean, why is there such a vitriol by the establishment against 9/11 Truth? I mean, right here I have ABC News. U.S. military wanted to provoke war with Cuba. U.S. military drafted plans to terrorize U.S. cities, staged terror attacks. We know the Gulf of Tonkin was staged. So we know that governments allow attacks to happen. We know that governments sometimes actually stage attacks. We know that the underwear bomber on Christmas Day, the State Department admits they were ordered by U.S. intelligence to let him on the plane, help him get on the plane. So in a lot of cases, they open the door. That's what 9/11 Truth is saying, is that this is being used to demonize us.